In today's video, we are going to learn how to write a simple question and answer application in just 5 lines of code. Now, depending on how many questions and how many answers you want to receive, you could make this 5 lines into 50 or even 100 lines of code, but you will still be using the same few methods or same few lines, just repeated depending on how many questions. So let's just get started. Here I've opened up a brand new PyCharm project to allow me to start from scratch with a new canvas. Now the first thing that I want to ask my user is, what is your name? So we do this by creating a variable name and just putting equals input parentheses, and then we are going to ask a question, so it's going to be letters. We are going to create a string, so we put quotations. What is your name? Now I want the user's input to be entered in a separate line in the console, so what I'm going to do is put a slash and an n, close my quotations and parentheses, and here this slash and n will have the user enter their input in a separate line. So if I go ahead and run this, you see down here it says what is your name, and you'll see that I have a new line for me to enter the answer to that question. I will put Gabe, hit enter. That is the end of the program. We've written something, we wrote 1 line of code and it works. So let's go back up here in our second line. Let's say, hello Gabe. So we just do the print function that we learned last week. Again, quotation, since we are going to write a string, and a space and close quotes. Now what we want to do is use this variable name in this line of code, so that way regardless on what the user writes in that name input, it is going to say hello and then the name. So we're just going to use a plus sign here and write the variable name with no quotations, because that is not a string. We want to use a variable, so that will not have the quotations, and close the parentheses there. So if I go ahead again and run this program, it's going to ask what is your name. Let's say Gabe again. We press enter and it says hello Gabe, enter program. So it's working. We are grabbing the input and using that input down here. Let's continue writing our code. So we're ready to 2 lines. Let's do print again, parentheses, quotations. It is nice to meet you. Close the quotes and close the parentheses. Now we're going to ask another question. Let's find out what our user's favorite color is. We write favorite underscore color. Now that is just the variable that I'm going to create. Equals input quotations, what's your favorite color? And again, I want the user's input to be entered in a second line, so I'm going to do slash n, close the quotations, close parentheses. Now let's go ahead and run that again. You see down here we can say Gabe, enter. Hello Gabe, it's nice to meet you. What's your favorite color? Now we can enter this here. Let's say green. Awesome, so that worked, and the end of the program. So let's just close this program out with our last line of code to sum up everything that we've gone through in these 4 lines that we've just written. So if I want to say, okay, print awesome, space, and close the quotes there, because what we are going to do now is we are going to start using the variables that we've collected. So we're going to use the variable, the name, the input that our user has put in. And what we always leave a trailing space if we're going to start using a variable, so that way there is a space between the variable and the word, the last word that we had in the string. And we use the plus sign, name. So similar to what we did up here, we basically put print, wrote a string. So we're going to start off that line with this string. Then we're going to say, okay, plus whatever name our users put in there. And we put a comma if we want to continue and add more text. So another string. My favorite color is also space, and close the quotes, do a comma, and let's do plus favorite color. Okay, so here I've basically I'm saying print awesome, Gabe, my favorite color is also green, as if I were to be using the example that I just put in here. So if we go ahead and run this, you see it says, what is your name? Let's do that again. It is Gabe. And go, hello Gabe, it is nice to meet you. What is your favorite color? We put green, enter again. Oop, we ran an error. Now, why did we run an error? We're not seeing any underscores that are red or anything like that. Well, I did not need to put this comma right here. You can see that the plus is highlighted in yellow, which is saying a warning. The system didn't pick up that that is something that's going to break the program. But really, as you saw up here, we did not have to put a comma after the string. Now, we put a comma here because it is after a variable and we wanted to continue a string. But we did not have to put one after awesome, so we can go ahead and take this one out here. You see that the highlighted yellow goes away, and let's try that again. So we can say input is Gabe, and favorite color is green, and the result is awesome, Gabe, my favorite color is also green. So by putting the variables here into our code, regardless on what our user enters, if we go ahead and enter, this time my name is Ben and favorite color is red, it will always respond to that specific user. So in this case it says, hello Ben, awesome Ben, my favorite color is also red. This is an awesome way to collect data from your users or customers. So something as simple as these 5 lines of code can be used to collect information in surveys or customers' preferences or responses that you want to save and use later on. So you can actually take these 5 lines and replicate them as many times as you want to create an application or a questionnaire to be able to interact as kind of like a really rudimentary chatbot with an end user or client. So again, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button below and the bell notification to be notified for future videos. My goal is to continue building up our skills in order to eventually build an application using a graphical user interface, which makes it look like any program that we use on our computers or cell phones.